Good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch on this strange Saturday morning here in Melbourne. The weather is strange. We get little bouts of rain coming and going, and wow, out here on the patio with its metal roof, does it ever get noisy. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but in the meantime, let's get the most important things out of the way first. Drink it if you got it. Oh, wow. That is so good. That is so good. Well, good to see everybody. Let me take a quick check and make sure that I am live. And it looks like I am live. Great. I love it when it works. Let's hope it keeps working. So how's everybody this morning on Saturday, November the 2nd? The tension in the air is palpable with the politics. And it's gotten so disturbing for me that I can hardly watch the news at all now. And I can't hardly even scroll through my YouTube feed because it's all politics and all propaganda on the thumbnails and everybody putting out outrageous things. Lies and it's crazy. It's crazy. God, I can't wait for it to be over with. So this morning, I made it through, honest to God, I made it through 4 seconds of the morning news before I said, nah, can't do it. I went over to my YouTube feed and I started scrolling to say, well, I needed, what am I going to do until 8:30? Because this was like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I said, same stuff. I said, I can't do it. I made a whole big deal yesterday about how I'm always so happy in the morning. And I want to project that happiness in this morning live stream and cheer everybody up so everybody can at least start off the day with a smile on their face. So on my YouTube feed, up comes, I didn't get movies because I'm a premium member. I get movies. So up comes a movie, an old movie. Airport 75. Does anybody here remember the movie Airport 75? How many years ago is that? That's 50. 49 years ago. 49 years ago, and I remember that movie when it was out. But that's not the significance. Not the significance of that movie, Airport 75. It was the movie that this cult classic called Airplane. And we all remember Airplane. Surely you can't be serious. I am serious, and stop calling me Shirley. We all remember all the lines from that movie. It was based scene for scene on Airport 75. And every old star under the sun was in this. I said, for nostalgia's sake, and I know it'll cheer me up, I'm going to start watching Airport 75. So I turned on Airport 75, and it was a riot because every scene that came up, in my head I would equate with the scene from the movie Airplane, and I was watching it, and then all of a sudden, about an hour before my stream is supposed to start, it dawned on me I hadn't even created the thing yet. I hadn't put it out there. And I ran into the house and I jumped on the computer and I created the stream. And that's why it was late this morning, because yours truly was watching Airport 75 and trying to cheer myself up and get all these negative thoughts out of my head. And I go into my computer and I sit down, and no sooner do I sit down at my computer, I get a text. And it's a text from Ellen. And Ellen texts me, "Are you okay?" I texted her back real quick. "Yeah, I'm making it now." I'm creating it now, and I sent her the link. So speaking of Ellen, here she is. Good morning, Ellen. How you doing? Good to see you.
Good morning. Good morning, Mitch.
So,
good morning, everyone in chat.
So I texted Ellen back right away. Yeah, you sent me the text about, I'd say 30 seconds after that thought hit my head. I said, "That's spooky." And those are the kind of coincidences.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of coincidences that have happened to us all our lives.
Yeah, must have been that energy transmitted.
Yeah, and the communication and the connection people have, where when somebody, and that's how come. If a thought pops into your head, "Oh, I need to call so and so," and then 10 seconds later your phone rings and it's them. It means that that thought of communicating with that person popped into both your heads at the same time, simultaneously, instantaneously. It happens to us every day. We don't really recognize it. I wrote a whole chapter about that in my book, about how I thought that might physically be possible with the current science and laws of physics we have, to understand what mechanisms. And I think I figured out at least a plausible explanation, but nobody can deny that it's not a real phenomenon. And damn if it didn't happen again this morning. So when the thought popped into my head that I didn't create the stream, or I must at some level somewhere have, Ellen and I must have connected for that second, because she was thinking about me and that thought popped into my head. And as spooky as that sounds, I'll never stop believing, even though I don't believe in magic and mysticism and all that spooky, comic book stuff. I do actually believe that we humans are part of a huge network, just like our computers are. Only a much more powerful and sophisticated version of it that allows us to. It's where our instincts come from. Some of our ideas just pop in. When things pop into your head, they don't come from nowhere. So those things, when they happen, just always reinforce my belief. Yeah. What do you think, Ellen? You think it's true?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So at any rate, here we are. And if any of you just want a walk down memory lane, I mean, everybody, even Gloria Swanson's in that movie, and Helen Reddy plays the nun. Remember, that was playing the guitar and singing to the sick kid that's going her way to get a kidney transplant, and the pilot of the plane that crashes into the 747 and starts the whole emergency. I think that was Ephraim. Was it Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.? One old star. Half of them are dead now, but Charlton Heston was in it, and I think Ephraim Zimbalist may have played the pilot. But what a great walk down memory lane. And I had decided not too long ago, that when I can't stand what's on TV, and this hit me back when Netflix went woke and Disney went woke and everybody went woke, and TV just went to hell for anybody that had, it was any kind of a normal person, because it became all about diversity and equality and inclusion and mixed marriage and gay marriage. It became all about that stuff. And wow, to quote Seinfeld again, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't need it in my face every day. I don't need it in my face every day, because it's a tiny minority of who we are, but they have taken center stage and monopolize everything now. And most people just don't like it. So I said, well, I'm just going to watch old movies. I kind of drifted away from that. But this morning reminded me just exactly how entertaining and how great some of these old movies were. Movies that I saw when they first came out, but now that I'm ancient, these movies are ancient, but they're still my current, my movies. So anyway, that's the story of this morning. Well, we got 103 people here already on Saturday. Good,
Yep.
good for you. So Ellen, I'm going to
That
put
is
you back
boom.
up. I'm going to put
Okay.
you upstairs
Okay.
in the sky box, the very expensive seats in
Yes.
the arena where only the
Yes.
elite go. I'm
Oh,
sorry
yeah.
to say there's no buffet up there or anything like that, but uh, you
That
go
was in
sit.
my contract. What?
Yeah, well, I forgot
Didn't
about that.
you
Yeah,
think
the caterers were late this
I
morning
was?
too.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'll have my people be talk. We'll be talking to.
Yeah. You have your people call my people.
Yeah.
Okay, all
I'll
right,
leave
Ellen.
it with you. Okay.
All right. I'll put you up there. We can still talk, but at any rate, so I don't really have a lot to talk about this morning other than that, and that took up the first 10 minutes of the stream, so that's good. So time for another sip of this. And I'm using my big red Gurkha cup today. I've told you, I have a whole set of these things. I got them at the cigar shops always have the manufacturers come in and put on an event where, they give out free cigars and promote their products to all the local customers. And they have drawings and raffles. And I went to one once and I won a whole set of these beautiful from Gurkha Cigar Company. These beautiful, huge. These things have gotta hold 20 ounces of coffee. When I fill it up from my Keurig set on the 12-ounce setting, it fills it half full. So that's a full cup of coffee, believe it or not. Other than that one sip I just took, but I love these cups, and that's. I thought, you've seen all my coffee cups. I've got the Dogbert one. I've got the one that says, when I'm done drinking this, it's time to poop. I've got that one that says I'm a ray of effing sunshine, which is still absolutely my favorite, and some of these and some other ones. But it would be great. It would be great if I could come out with a different, really cool, like wearing a different T-shirt every day with a pretty neat message on it. Today, today I'm wearing my. By the way, I'm wearing my National Sarcastic Society T-shirt, which between the Gurkha cigar cup and the proclaiming my sarcasm, I've really identified myself uh, this morning. So let's start saying hi to people. And since this thing got off to a late start, I'll start at the beginning. I'll start at the beginning. Uh, Mike Seeley, United Carnivore, was here. First one at 7:30, and that's when the stream went live. So he jumped right on it. And Mark Booz is here. How you doing, Mark? Good to see you. Ellen chimed in because that's what she does. It's in her contract. Richard Williams jumped right on it from Copper Hill, Tennessee, and Sandy Blythe was here. Good to see you from Lake City, Florida. Wow, almost a neighbor. About 3 hours. I think it's about 3 hours from here. Rick is here from Miami. Bunch of Floridians. Charger Mopar, good to see you, my friend. And Wanda Gerling. Wanda Gerling says, good morning, Mitch and Ellen, Mark Booz. How are you all doing this day? Don't forget to set the clocks back tonight. Yeah. Oh, tomorrow morning is going to be a pleasure because it won't be dark when I start setting up my studio because I usually start an hour to an hour and a half before this, dragging out all the equipment, setting up the table, putting all this stuff together, getting the lighting, getting the internet connected to it. Today I did it watching the movie at the same time, so time really flew. Lambs is here. How you doing, Lambs? Good to see you from the Netherlands. Oh, always great to see Europe chiming in. And CB Carmack says good morning to everybody's and all healthy partners in critical, in crime. Yes, partners in crime. That's what we are. We, they think we're criminals. And Dixie Scott chimed in. Hiya, Dixie. How are you doing? How are you doing? And wherever you find Mike Seeley, his father's not far behind. Sometimes he even beats Michael. Mike Seeley Sr. from Melbourne is here. Good to see you. Jerry Vajtush, how you doing? Jerry, greetings from Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, right up near Jacksonville, another Floridian. And Boyd Lamb is here. How you doing, Boyd? Good to see you. Good to see you. Ground beef guy, Randy. And that sound, if you heard it, I don't know if you heard that. That was a woodpecker. Did you hear it, Ellen? Could you hear it? Yeah, that was a...
Oh, yes, a woodpecker.
Not only was it a woodpecker, but I think it was a mentally ill woodpecker.
Because is he pecking on your house?
No, he's pecking on on the aluminum part of my screen enclosure. Yes.
He's confused.
Yeah, he climbs up and pretty much the same spot. And it's been going on for a while, and I don't know if it's the same mentally deranged woodpecker that doesn't know wood from aluminum, but first time that happened scared the shit out of me. I didn't know what the hell it was, but that's great. Anyway, Ground Beef Guy says good morning, y'all, and we have Renato D'Amico. I like that name. That a boy, Mitch. Thank you. Who else is chiming in here? Meathead is here. Good morning, Meathead. Good morning. And Booby Goats is here. Good, glorious morning from Tennessee. And I had gotten an email from Booby right about the time I was starting this morning live stream, when I actually brought Ellen in as a guest. Remember, I said I'm going to be bringing guests in once in a while. And Booby says... that she would love to be a guest on a channel, and I said fine, maybe we'll bring you in next week. And then I got started on this morning thing, and the concept of guests just disappeared. But I haven't forgotten you. And I promise you, once we get past this election nonsense, we will do it. And you're next. Well, no, you're not next. Papa Carnivore, Peter, is next. I promised him that. But we're going to start doing that maybe every third or fourth day, bringing somebody else in. Not for the whole show, but just to introduce you, say hi, hear your story, things like that. So don't think you've been forgotten. And Terry is here. Good morning, Terry. And the Rugrats. And Marcia, how you doing, Marcia? Good to see you. Marcia was in with us for quite a while on Thursday night, and it's always a pleasure. Peter, speaking of Papa Carnivore, is here. Good morning, Peter. How you doing? I think Peter might have been disappointed a little bit that I didn't post the stream, actually create the stream last night, because the chat gets so full up of people that actually start chatting the night before and first thing in the morning, and it goes crazy. And I deprived all of you of the forum for you to do that, and I apologize. So I will endeavor to try to remember before I go to bed every night to make sure I have created the platform for this stream so that it shows up and you can find it, and you don't miss your morning gathering with all your friends, because it has become a community of friends. Anthony Zarconi, how you doing? Good morning from Chicago. Yeah. Good to see you. Who else? Here's one I don't think I've seen before. Kevin Michael, family of Smith, says waves. Well, welcome. Good to see you. Always like to see somebody I don't recognize, and if you have been here before, and I have seen you before, uh, chalk it up to a senior moment. Chalk it up to a senior moment if I don't recognize you. And Moto J81 says I pay zero attention to the news. It's propaganda at its finest. Yeah, I was going to tell you what it was in the first 4 seconds that just said, "Nah, I can't do this morning." I turned on the news. The first words out of that mouth, the first thing I heard was, "The latest polls show the election is a dead tie." I said, "Go to hell," and I shut the thing off. I just can't hear that. What polls? What polls?
Okay, so I'm going to chime in just for a second.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'm having a different perspective about this election, but I don't listen to the mainstream news or all the propaganda. I think it's kind of exciting.
You do. Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Well, I guess I just don't have a lot to tell, but so I'm a little sad, but not too sad. So Donald, well, both of them were in Milwaukee last night for rallies. And I had tickets to the Trump rally, and I really wanted to go. So
Yeah.
Milwaukee's, the big major city near me. So it was downtown at the big arena. So I ended up not going because I couldn't find anyone to go with me. Anybody that I knew that would want to go couldn't go, and I didn't want to go down there by myself and deal with it all because it was a lot
of work.
Yeah, but I watched it. So I watched it with a friend on
Oh,
YouTube.
good.
Just but the energy, just being around the energy of all those people and getting together and so I think it's we don't want to get too political here on Morning Coffee because and by the way, we welcome everybody just because
yeah.
So that so yes, so that's
it's exciting for you. Good.
Well, a friend of mine said this election is big because it's gonna. Yeah, well, I can't get into.
Yeah, well, we can't talk about that now. So back in your box. Whoops, what did I do? I just
back in the box, lady.
Back in the box, Ellen, and it is tough not to dwell on politics these days. But I watch these rallies, and then I watch her rallies, and when I see that they bus 10 or 15,000 people in. And one report I saw actually showed the guy went outside the arena and showed a line of buses so long that just sitting there waiting. They bus them, they pay them and they bus them hundreds of miles to fill up the arena. And when I see the obvious difference in the public's enthusiasm over either candidate, and then I hear they're neck and neck, my brain, my head smokes, and smoke comes out of my ears because it just doesn't jive. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me, and I recognize it as pure manipulated propaganda by a biased media, the same biased media that doesn't hesitate, and this is why I take it personally, the same media that doesn't hesitate to come out with headlines that say a new Harvard study proves that red meat causes diabetes. And I just go berserk. It is everything out of their mouth is exactly the opposite of what the real truth is, and I'm so saddened by the fact that the truth these days almost doesn't even have a chance to get out there and be heard because of the censorship that we're experiencing. So it's very personal. Propaganda, especially as it's used and against common sense and what we're doing to be healthy, and all the evidence that we are right and they are wrong, and there's no shortage of evidence, somehow the common wisdom is still meat is bad, whole grains and plants are good, and we fight and we fight and we fight and we fight. And maybe we win 10, 20, 30 people at a time, but there are hundreds of millions of people out there who still buy into this stuff. And I see that same propaganda in virtually everything. And it's, of course, it's all driven by the quest for power and money of people with no conscience. And I have a conscience. So if you have a conscience, this stuff gets to you. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do it. You can't ignore it. It's everywhere. So that's why that. Now let's see, where did I leave off here? I was saying hi to people. I think I said hi to Meathead. Meathead says, got to go soon. It's Costco shopping today. Oh man, you couldn't get me near a Costco on a Saturday. It's bad enough on a Monday. It's crazy in that place here. Crazy. Cynthia Page is here. Good morning, all. I'm visiting in Georgia, so finally on the right time zone to join in on time. Cynthia, it's great to see you. Great to see you here on this Saturday morning. Dixie Scott, how are you doing? And Satya's here. Good morning, all, she says. How are we doing on time? Well, we're doing pretty good. Pretty good. Usually the first half hour of the stream, and it works out great, is me narrating or orating a little bit about something that happened, and then we get into saying hi to people, and then that generally leaves us about a half hour to answer questions. And Ellen and I had a little discussion this morning because she had some questions left over from yesterday, and I said, well, let's try something for today and see if we don't get too screwed up doing it. Why don't we start with the questions from yesterday first, and then address the ones that come up today. So if you got a question, and the questions I've been getting lately are great. They're not questions about, personal blood test numbers, like the kind of questions that Ken Berry and Chafee get all the time, but questions about the concept of doing carnivore and the way to do carnivore, and things that are generalized, things that where I can talk about my experiences. And yesterday I had one of the coolest questions I've had in quite a while, and that was the one where I was asked if I think that artificial intelligence can have hallucinations. And that question just fascinated me because it made me think about things that I love to think about, but never get a chance to talk about how our brain actually works, how our senses feed us information. It was a great question, and we did go over time answering it, but boy, I'll tell you what, it was a great, great question. We have Sean. Sean, is it Jean-san? That's a new name. I haven't seen that name yet. Sean, good to see you. Good morning from Louisiana, Sean says. And who is this? This is, Moto Joy 81 again. Yeah, we're still sipping on our coffee. We have Paul McGrogan is here. Good morning, everyone. Nikki W is here. How you doing, Nikki? Good morning to you. Any more new names as we approach the top of the hour? And just for grins, and this might be a great time because I'm a little surprised. Oh, somebody bought me a coffee. Somebody bought me a coffee, and I don't know who it was. I don't know who it was, but thank you so much. I had to turn my notifications off because those things constantly go off. Sam's Club wants to sell me things. Amazon wants to sell me things, and they want me to sell you things. I must get 10 notifications a day from Amazon saying, maybe your viewers would be interested in this. You may have noticed I've really dialed back on the, go to my website and buy things from my Amazon links. Not because I don't appreciate it, not because it really doesn't help, but because that's not what this channel is all about. And I don't ever want to give that impression. Neither is the buy me a coffee stuff. It helps me make a living, which is important to me, but not important enough to become a prostitute for these companies and devote the entirety of my efforts looking for new sponsors, bothering you with commercials dropping in the middle of streams and things like that so that I can make a few dollars more. That's not what's really important. At my age, I have what I need. I just need to keep it going until it's over. But someone bought me 3 coffees this morning. Thank you so much. And what they said was in the message, and I will reply, used your 2 chicken wings videos for supper last night. What a delicious learning experience. Well, someone, whoever you are, thank you so much. Bought me uh, bought me 3 coffees. 3 coffees. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then I see that Marcia, Chessie Adventures, bought me a coffee also this morning. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I don't know if Ellen, I think once in a while she actually throws the link. She throws the link to buy me a coffee in the channel. But since I'm already on the subject, this is what you do. You just go to buymeacoffee.com/oldguycarnivore or click the link in the description of virtually every video that I make, and it's easy, and I appreciate it. So where was I? It's 9 o'clock. Okay, Ellen, let me grab a last few here. Boxot is here, said good morning, and Mama Bear chimed in. Good to see you. Galen, good to see you, my friend. From good morning, Mr. Carnivore. That's me, Mr. Carnivore. Professor Carnivore. Professor Carnivore. People have been calling me. And anybody else new? Real quick, Anthony. Fred Wright, good morning. Fred, how are you? Running late this morning. Well, better late than never, they say. Roy Carter, how you doing? Is it Roy or Ray? It's Roy, it says. And my new glasses seem to be working great this morning. I haven't had to squint or anything. Maybe my eyes are adapting to the slight change of those things. Anybody else? Anybody else? Going once. Going twice. Sold. Okay, so Ellen's keeping an eye on the chat. Ellen's got the questions, but let's not get our priorities out of whack here this morning, my friends. So enjoy the music a little bit, get happy, put a smile on your face. I was going to say, according to the weather radar, we're supposed to get some rain over here. And I'm out here in a screen porch with a metal roof, and when it rains, it sounds like the sky is falling. And according to the radar, which I will bring up on my cell phone and show you, according to the radar, I am where that blue dot is above the word Melbourne. And as you can see, the ocean out there, you can see that line. Now, there's not much rain anywhere, but sure as could be. What rain there is headed right for you truly. So if all of a sudden it sounds like a freight train going by, we're going to keep on plugging, and I'm just going to talk louder. So I interrupted something very important for that public service announcement. Again, accidental perfect timing with the end of the music. Cool. So, Ellen, chime on in here and
Okay.
let me know.
Now I'm happier than I already was after that.
That's just a level of happiness almost impossible to conceive in these days and times.
We are truly blessed. So, and sorry to distract you with that politics. I was just trying to put a positive spin on it.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Anytime you can.
Little reframing. So anyway, we have We do have a question, but how about we'll do the two left over from yesterday?
Yes, good idea.
Then,
Let's do that.
Because of my technical issues. CB, who is here, I know,
Yeah.
had a question. Have you heard of Dr. Barbara O'Neill? She mentioned castor oil will penetrate very deep and will break up bone spurs and kidney stones. She also mentions the cholesterol propaganda. So she won me with that one.
Uh, no, CB, but you and I've met. I know you, and I know that you don't buy into snake oil salesmen. So obviously, if you see credibility in her message, it might be worth exploring. But the answer to the question is so many experts on YouTube, so little time, and I haven't gotten to her. The name I can't even say rings a bell, but maybe a little bit. As far as castor oil, well, castor oil is an oil from the castor bean. Okay, I'm I am wary. I'm wary about beans, beans in general, but I'm more wary about castor beans in particular. This may be an unfounded fear, but if any of you have ever heard of ricin, you ever heard of ricin, Ellen? It is one of the deadliest poisons known to man.
Yes. Yes.
Ricin is made from castor beans.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the deadliest poison known to man, basically one of the plant kingdom's most successful implementations of the concept of defense chemicals, and plants are trying to kill you, then you'd have to put the castor bean right up at the, you put a crown on it and set it up there on the throne as the most successful king of plants with compounds that are the most effective killers of any animal that might eat them. So, and yet castor oil was always billed as, it was the tonic back when you used to call things tonics back in the old days. That was so healthy and so good for you. But I have yet to find anything in any beans that I haven't not only been able to live without, but have prospered without. So no, I would not touch a drop of castor oil, especially if it's claimed to have effects to have something to do with kidney stones. Maybe it does help, but no. I stay away from that. I even stay away from avocado, coconut oil, and some of those plant-based oils that are still not harmful and pretty healthy, saturated or monounsaturated fats, and may even have some benefits. But I stay away from them too. When I made the decision, no plants, I made one exception. One exception, and that it does involve a bean. And that bean does have defense chemicals in it. But those chemicals seem to have a stimulatory effect on most humans, and that one bean is this. So that's the exception, but I'm staying away. Now, as far as the cholesterol hoax, I'm on board 1,000% with that. 1,000%. So O'Neill, I'll if I get a chance, I'll go. She may be onto something, and I may be wrong about the castor beans thing. But when it comes to stuff like that, when it comes to the thing that they make the deadliest poison ever known to humans out of, I think maybe just as a, and I don't need it. Stay away from it. That's my philosophy. If it ain't broke, man, don't try to keep fixing it if it ain't broke. And right now, my metabolic health is the furthest thing from broken that I can imagine of anybody I know. So I don't search out or give much credibility to anybody with the new latest magical substance or supplement that's going to solve all these problems, and I just don't buy into that. So hope CB, I hope that answers your question. And again, believe me, this is just my opinion, and I'm not stating it as a proven fact because she may be 1,000% right, but that's the best I can do. And thanks for the question, Ellen.
Okay, well, she may be, but I'm also a little dubious of the claims of putting something externally, can go in and do things like that. But again, that's just my viewpoint. So let's see. There was another good one yesterday from LAT. And I
Oh,
don't
okay, over in the
know
Netherlands.
if
Yeah.
LAT is here, but maybe she will hear. I thought this was a good one. Is it harder for us oldies? Now, she must be talking about you, not me.
No, no, no. She must be talking about
Yeah.
somebody that's
Yeah.
really old. I mean,
Yeah.
I bill myself as old guy carnivore.
Right. But she's talking about the old people,
The old people, because
The old
I still to this day don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I mean, I've
Oh,
been
me
like
either.
that all my life.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, us oldies to eat OMAD. Is it harder for us oldies to eat OMAD when we find large meals difficult?
That's a great question. That's a great question
Yeah.
because this OMED is pushed so hard. It's pushed so hard on us by from so many different directions of people that say that it is the best. And I think it's good in one respect because it does allow you to have the maximum amount of fasting in a day without actually not eating. Okay, you do OMAD, you're basically on a 23 and 1 hour eating window. You have 1 hour of eating, 23 hours of fasting, and it takes 12 to 16 hours for your body to actually start experiencing any, I would say, measurable benefits from autophagy. And I think I use that term and I throw these terms around. And whenever I use a term like autophagy, you want to assume that everybody knows what it is. And in reality, there's always a bunch of people that don't know what autophagy means. Well, literally translated, it means eat yourself. I don't know how many people knew that, but autophagy means eat yourself. And what that means is that our physiology starts searching out damaged cells, damaged proteins, things that aren't needed anymore. For example, if you've just lost 150 pounds, you're going to have rolls and rolls of loose skin hanging everywhere. Well, your body learns it doesn't need that. So it starts eating it and reusing the materials from it to rebuild brand new things. And that's why if you fast and if you at least do a fairly long intermittent fast every day, and I've noticed this on my own body, your your skin will tighten up. It heals your organs. It does everything. But it takes at least 12 hours before you even begin to get an inkling of your body going into that mode. Now, in prehistoric days, back in the old days, humans very rarely ate more than one meal a day or even one meal every few days. So their bodies spent a tremendous amount of time in autophagy, which made them more than likely a lot healthier than us. And then the naysayers always say, yeah, but they didn't live to 30, 35 years old. Well, that wasn't genetics or anything else. That was the fact that if you look back at your own life, look back at your own life, every one of you. I do this all the time. And you say to yourself, would I still be alive today if not for modern medicine? Or would that infection I had when I was 18, or would that broken leg I had when I was 25 have killed me? Would gangrene have set in if there were no antibiotics? If there weren't doctors to reset it or perform surgery to fix something? How many of us can say, yeah, I'd still be alive? None of us would be alive today. None of us would enjoy a long life. That's a blessing and a curse of modern medicine. As far as nature's concerned, they'd rather you didn't fix it. You got one job in nature, and that is live long enough to reproduce, and we're done with you. Nature doesn't care if you die at 25 years old, especially if you've had a kid or two. That's the law of the jungle. That's how we got here. We didn't get here because the Egyptians had great doctors, or the Neanderthals, or the or the other cavemen. We got here because we learned just enough about how to keep people from dying from something that would most certainly have killed them. So, yeah, I don't know. Ellen, read me the. I go off on these tangents of things. Read me the exact question again so I don't stray too far. Please unmute your mic. Do you have the question there that
Yes,
I'm
I
supposed
do.
to be answering? Because
I'm sorry.
I'll go afield. The next thing I know, it'll be
I
this
was
afternoon.
distracted. I was distracted. I was working on another question.
Oh, that's
So
okay.
the exact question is it harder for us
Oh, the
oldies,
OMAD thing. Yes. Okay. So
oldies
let me get
and
back. Let me get
basically
back to that.
one meal a day harder as
I
you're
get
old?
it. I get it. I started out answering that, and that's the way my mind works. Whenever I come to a corner, and I peer down that corner, I instead of continuing on the path towards my destination, I
Mine
say,
too. I was
"Ooh,
off on another corner too.
yeah." I go, "Ooh,
Carry on.
candy," and I'm down that road, and then I forget how the hell do I get back to where I was? Yeah, OMAD. So let me get back to that because I do want to answer the question and get on to the next one, and I'll pontificate about these rabbit holes other times. Uh, so we're biologically designed pretty much, and in our evolutionary experience, OMAD was kind of normal, but most of us today, including me, find, for example, for me, I need 2.5 pounds of food every day. I can't do that, or it's very uncomfortable, or not pleasurable for me to try to stuff that much food in one meal because I get my satiety hormones kick in first. And once those satiety hormones, once that leptin starts flowing, and your brain is not leptin resistant and recognizes that all of your cells, your fat cells, are screaming, stop, stop already. Once you can recognize that, eating is not pleasurable after that. The food stops tasting as good. Your body is using every clue it can give you instinctually to say, you've eaten enough. Come back in a few hours. And that's why I settled on 2 meals a day with as narrow a window as I could. And here's the important part, to allow the first meal to completely digest. That's why I go 4 hours between meals. So when the second meal comes up, I'm really not all that hungry, just like I wasn't for the first meal. But I know that I need to fill the tank every day with so much fuel because I don't have fat to burn anymore that I want to lose. I don't want to lose any more weight. So I settled in at 2 meals a day with a 19 to 20 hour fasting window every day, which gives me enough time for my body to actually get into autophagy, repair itself, and heal itself between 4 o'clock in the afternoon and maybe 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock the next morning. I'm done eating every day, usually by 4:30 at the latest, and I don't put another bite of food in my body. I do not snack between meals because that interrupts the digestive cycle. And I've settled into that routine, and it seems to be working great. It seems to be working great for me. And for the first time in my life, I actually say, I don't want to lose any more weight. I've lost enough weight. I'm skinny enough. So I have to concentrate on eating enough food now, whereas I used to always be on a regimen like most of us, depriving myself, dieting, limiting my calories. So yes, you're not alone. Many people find it very difficult to cram the required amount of food that their body needs, especially if it's the right food every day, into their bodies and go to 2 meals a day. And then there are those people that just can never break the habit of eating from morning to night. They try to be carnivores, but they usually don't make it. They usually end up falling back into the addiction driven sugar eating habit. And that's sad. But that's people being controlled not by their desires or their conscious wants, because everybody wants to be thin and pretty, but they're being controlled by their addictions. And their addictions are clever enough. Their subconscious mind is clever enough to make you believe that's really what you want to do. And you can start again tomorrow. We've all been there. So I hope that answers the question. Yes, don't feel like you like a sore thumb. You are among probably, I would think, the majority of people that have done OMAD for a while and said, this is just not, I'm missing out on a lot because half of what I eat, I'm basically forcing myself to eat. And that goes against every clue and signal your body's giving you. So I think, was that the last question from yesterday?
That was. So,
okay.
And now they're rolling in today. So
well, good. That's great. That's what I want to do. The biggest problem that I used to have on these live streams, BE, that's before Ellen, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, BE. Was I missed a lot of these questions in the chat. I had to go search for them. People weren't asking a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you go into a Ken Berry or Anthony Chafee chat, they get, the questions start right off the bat, and you even have to put them on a super chat just to get them noticed. Well, I got Ellen. And while I like super chats and they're all great and all, there's no requirement that you pay anything, ever, never, to get my attention if I'm, if I manage to be able to see it or get to it,
Yes.
to answer a question or try to help you in any way. This is not a pay for advice website. This is a website where if you feel like thanking me for what I do, or if you know without a doubt that I've helped you more than you've been helped before and you want to say thank you, then I love when you buy me a coffee or give me a super chat. That's it. And if you can't afford it, don't. I'm telling you, don't. If you, like I lived for 10 years trying to get by on just Social Security, had to go to the grocery store and decide, do I buy this or that today because I only have so much money? I've been there. Don't. Please don't. So that's my philosophy on doing this for a living.
Okay.
You got a question?
And with that said, Mitch, we do have 2 super chats.
Oh, no kidding. Great.
I'm going to read the first one from
Okay.
Healthy Carnivore in UK while you're bringing it up if you want to. Or
I'm going to try to find it.
Mitch,
oh, here we go. Okay, this is from Healthy Carnivore UK.
from
Yes.
Healthy Carnivore UK.
Yes, thank you so much. I got pounds.
Pounds. Excuse me.
Okay, you can read it.
Mitch, Sarah here, day 104. Thanks to you, you saved my life. That's
wow.
That's a pretty pretty strong thank you.
That brings tears to my eyes. I got to tell you, I hear that a lot. I know it's not just a platitude. I know nobody says that to somebody just to be nice. You don't tell somebody you saved my life. That is the heaviest of duty compliments that you can give another human. One human being can give to another. Soldiers in the battlefield will say that to the other soldier that drug them out of a bad situation. Saved, really, truly saved their, in other words, I would not be here had it not been for whatever it was. So Sarah, thank you for the 5 pounds. That's fabulous. But thank you so much more for that compliment. And it's those things that put the biggest smile on my face and give me the greatest resolve to say, well, Mitch, people are telling you that, and I see that quite often, more often than I would ever have imagined. When I see that, it proves to me that I'm on to something, that I've discovered something that very few have discovered because they're not talking about it. In the simple methods that seem overly simple on how to start carnivore, how to get past those addictions, the things that have been sabotaging you your entire life, like they did me for 75 years without knowing why. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have no idea what compliments like that mean to me. What was there was another
Oh,
one you said?
yes, and as Asborn Knutson.
Oh, Asjorn, how you doing?
Um,
Asjorn, as I think how you
Asborn.
pronounce it.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. He has a comment, I guess. The reason people in the past did not live much longer than 50 was due to non-existent, I assume he means, hygiene, parasites, and poor dental health. And then,
Everything. I mean, a common cold would kill people. A broken ankle would kill people. These are people that were living in caves and chasing big hairy animals for a living. They were injured all the time. Those injuries normally, in most cases, got infected. That infection killed them. Gangrene would set in a joint with a broken bone until we learned how to half-ass set these things. So, and the biggest statistical reason, and this is the biggest statistical reason why the lifespan of early humans was 25, 35, 40 years, because it was an average of all humans that were born. And in most of these societies, the infant mortality rate was 50%. The babies didn't even survive childbirth. Well, if you average half of the births as dying before they even had a chance to get started, it's going to half the other number at the top end. So, if not for infant mortality, the average lifespan would have been double what they profess. But the propagandists, just like they've co-opted this blue zone absolute nonsense, they keep interpreting things and creating propaganda and excuses to support their position, which not inconsequentially always supports their income and their power. And we become sheep, which we certainly have become. And we're eating and being fed what they feed sheep. Sheeple. Thank you so much, Ashdorn. I appreciate that very much as usual. And okay, we got those out of the way. And we have some more questions, you say?
Question from...
I have time for one or two more, and that's going to be about it.
Boxad, our friend Boxad, BOXOD.
Yes.
Even if all of academics and mainstream news agree that carnivore is the optimal diet, do you think 90% of people would still choose junk food and sugar?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, without a doubt. Because it goes back to what I think is the root cause of the reason that this stuff has been so easily perpetrated on the human race. Addiction. And I'll use my two favorite addictions as analogies, drug addictions and alcoholism. Because the mainstream media is putting out a 100% drugs are bad message to the American public. There's not a soul out there. Even the people that are addicts wouldn't tell you that drugs are good. Even South Park tells you drugs are bad. Drugs are bad. Okay. Drugs are bad. Everybody knows drugs are bad. You'd think, with everybody knowing drugs are bad, there wouldn't be a drug problem. And yet the drug problem keeps getting worse. So talking about something and just educating yourself to the fact that these foods are killing you, these ultra-processed, sugar-laden crap that you're addicted to, even thinking that the word might get out until, and this is the frustrating part, until it becomes known and recognizable by every human being that is addicted to carbohydrates, and that's most of them, the physiological, well, number one, that it is the most powerful addiction that a human animal can have, which is a fact that all the propaganda won't even admit. People, when they think addiction, don't even think about carbohydrate addiction. They they might talk about food addiction, but that's not even a thing. And I've talked about that many times. If you're a realist, people are not addicted to food. Carnivores are not addicted to ribeyes. I'm sorry. We're not addicted to them. That's our food. That's like, saying you're addicted to breathing. No, you do it because you have to live. But you'd still, if you're a carb addict, forego the meat for the addictive foods. Nobody's addicted to broccoli. Nobody sits around jonesing, shaking, having withdrawals from broccoli or ribeyes. The only drug that people in the food spectrum have withdrawal symptoms from is a carbohydrate addiction, or maybe caffeine, which is, yeah, you get a headache for a couple days, but nothing like trying to get off of alcohol or hard drugs. So, no, won't make a dent until the topic of conversation at the highest levels is addiction. This is the most serious addiction that the human race has, until money is poured into education, money is poured into recovery centers. Something is done to get the addictive substances out of every convenience store, out of every, even office supply stores, drug stores, supermarkets, Sam's Club. 90% of what they sell is drugs, addictive substances, not until all that happens. And that's not likely to happen in a single generation. And luckily, if everything went right, it might happen within 50 to 100 years, which is coincidentally how long it took for the problem to get to the point where it is today. There's no instant fix for this. This is don't expect somebody to come along and save you. Save yourself. Learn what you need to learn. Accept the reality of it, that there's no magic pill. There's a return to primal living, because that's how we got here. So that's my answer to that question, and it's a sad answer. It's a sad answer, and the answer is not only no, but hell no. What else you got? One more.
Okay, one more. Kevin Michael, family of Smith.
Oh, good.
That's a name in itself.
I love it.
Are you familiar with RCT, reverse cholesterol transport, and OT, oral tolerance? I am drinking between 12 and 16 raw eggs a day. So I assume it's in maybe relation to that. And I'm not really familiar with the RCT, but
no, I'm not either. And let me preface my answer.
So
yeah, and it's a good question, because obviously there's somebody out there promoting RCT and reverse cholesterol therapy.
Correct.
Yeah,
right.
There's somebody promoting it and eating a huge number of eggs a day. You have to ask yourself two questions. Where is this message coming from, and who is it? And what credentials do they have, or what credibility? Because people can have credentials. They can have strings of letters after their names and still be a moron, because all they can do is parrot what some other moron taught them. And the more degrees somebody has, the less respect I have for them, especially in the nutrition field, because they've just been exposed to the propaganda over and over and over again, so that they can get that string of letters and qualify for some job working for a company that is producing not only the products, but the propaganda that has gotten us in all this trouble. Talk about being a cynic, huh? I'm pretty well, for me. No, I've never heard of RCT, nor do I want to. I don't want to. I have spent a lifetime researching lipid metabolism and cholesterol because I recognized the statin hoax when it first came out. And I've always had high cholesterol, so I had what I always thought was a personal stake in really trying to learn the reality of it. And I learned the reality of it long before I ever even knew what carnivore was, before anybody knew before Sean Baker wrote the book. I knew about it when I wrote my book 22 years ago, that the cholesterol was a hoax, that the studies were manipulated and conflicted, that it was all bullshit. It was way back then that I pretty much developed my philosophy that our human chemistry and our human metabolism and our programming is much smarter than any of these idiots that keep trying to figure out ways to manipulate it so they can sell you the magic bullet. And I think I'm right on that. Again, my opinion. I understand cholesterol. I understand what lipids are. Lipids are, lipids. Cholesterol is not what an LDL is. It's not what an HDL is, or a VLDL, or a chylomicron, or any of those other things. Cholesterol is just a molecule. There's no good cholesterol. There's no bad cholesterol. There is only cholesterol. You can draw out the chemical structure of a cholesterol molecule, and nowhere in that drawing can you figure out what's the difference between a good one and a bad one. Cholesterol is one of many fat-soluble substances that the body needs that can't be transported in the bloodstream because they're not water-soluble. Only water-soluble, aqueous things can be transported in the human bloodstream, like glucose. So, if you're a sugar burner, your body's running on sugar, and you don't need lipoproteins. You don't need LDL, HDL, VLDL, chylomicron. You don't need any of that stuff to transport sugar. Sugar just gets dissolved in the bloodstream and gets delivered to every cell. When you go back to the kind of metabolism that was the default for any human animal that lived before 15, 20,000 years ago, before the agricultural revolution, and there was no sugar, then without these lipoproteins, which are vessels that carry a non-aqueous substance through a river of an aqueous substance, like a canoe on a river. Without the canoe, you would drown. But with the canoe, you don't drown, you just ride along. And it's the lipoprotein's job, and we could go on for days with this explanation, to deliver to a fat-burning individual tons of triglycerides and free fatty acids. And the only way to get what a cell needs to the cell is through the bloodstream. It's our highway department. It's where the mail trucks ride on. So I understand how it works, and it's elegant in the way that it works, and it's programmed to work the way it's supposed to work. So my philosophy has always been, unless I have a physical defect of some sort, a genetic disorder in the programming itself, whatever my cholesterol number is absolutely irrelevant to me, because my body has it exactly where it needs to be. In the same manner it regulates or tries to regulate my blood sugar, the amount of sodium in my blood, the amount of potassium in my blood. Everything has to be regulated to where it works. The pH of my stomach acid. None of us need to consciously think about this stuff. Let your body do its job. So somebody comes along and says, what are they saying? That you need to overload cholesterol? You need to eat 10 times more cholesterol than you need. So here, eat a dozen eggs a day. And again, I haven't seen it. I don't know what they're meaning. I'm inferring that. Now, on the other side of the equation, I think it's the most idiot thing I've ever heard in theory. But in practice, I also believe you can't eat too many eggs. I think eggs are one of the most nutritious foods human beings can eat. So, if you're eating 8 eggs a day and you start and all of a sudden miraculous things are happening to you, it's because you're eating more of the perfect food. Not because somebody made a YouTube video with some cockamamie idea of cramming too much cholesterol. It's got nothing to do with the cholesterol content of it. The cholesterol is an irrelevant number to even be aware of, in my opinion, and what most of the legitimate studies over time and meta-analysis have shown for years and years and years, that those people who have a healthy metabolism, and that's the key. If you're metabolically ill, all bets are off on that advice. But people who have a healthy metabolism, good BMI, the right waist to height ratio, low insulin, high HDL, low triglycerides. Cholesterol it doesn't deserve a thought. Not 1 second of your day should be thinking about how much cholesterol you're eating. It is irrelevant. If you don't eat enough cholesterol, your body will make it for you, just like sugar, just like glucose. You can live for a lifetime and never eat a gram of sugar, and yet your brain and your muscles have all the glycogen and sugar that they need. We make it. Gluconeogenesis. These are things that are not common knowledge, and they should be. They should be taught in every second grade classroom, but they're not. So the end result of that advice, even if it took a convoluted path to get there, eggs. You may not have to eat. I eat 6 eggs a day, okay? So I'm not far behind you. And whether they're raw or cooked, yeah, you're going to get a little more nutrition from a raw egg, but I don't enjoy it, so I eat them cooked. So let's say I only get 90% of the amount of nutrition in an egg. Great. Instead of eating 5 eggs, I'll eat 6 eggs, make up for the difference. But that's why eggs are called nature's perfect vitamin pill. And we're running long, but I'm going to finish up on this one, Ellen. The reason they call them nature's vitamin pill, when you think about it, is an egg is a sealed up, closed thing. Nothing comes in or out of an egg once it's laid. And yet, in that egg is every molecule of every substance necessary to build life, with no exogenous materials whatsoever. Exogenous means from the outside, endogenous means made on the inside. So you've got, in that gooey yellow stuff that fills up an egg, you've got a chicken. You got a chicken. Everything. Not one molecule of what a healthy chick needs to become a living organism. It's all in the egg, and it's all exactly the same stuff that we need. And what a coincidence. What a wild coincidence that egg happens to be high in cholesterol. Now, if you think about it in those terms, what you're hearing is that without cholesterol, there'd be no life. Without cholesterol, there'd be no life. We, in our infinite corrupt wisdom, have managed to turn that message around, that the two things that we call poisons, cholesterol and carbon dioxide, are the two things without which there'd be no life whatsoever. How many people have awakened to that fact? Without cholesterol, you could not live. Artificially lowering cholesterol in the face of anything except a really, really good reason can do only harm to life. That's why I don't worry about it. But yet when I tell people that my total cholesterol is almost 500, they call an ambulance. That's how brainwashed we are. So I hope that answers your question. My advice to you, I don't care how you found it. I don't care what excuse or what reason somebody gave you to do it. Keep eating those eggs, my friend. How about that, Alan? Was that a good answer?
That was a fantastic answer.
It better have been because it took 15 minutes, but that's okay. That's okay.
That's
Why
okay.
that's why we're here to kind of try to make sense of all the pull some common sense out of the sea of nonsense that we're drowning in. Oh, what a metaphor that was. A sea of nonsense that we're drowning in every single day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
And
let me do this. We're going to wrap it up here.
okay,
We went
that's yes,
15 we went
15 minutes
15
late.
minutes longer, and let me tell you all out of the generosity and magnanimousness of my heart, for that 15 minutes, no extra charge. No extra charge this morning on the house.
There you
So I'm gonna
best.
set the tone. I'm gonna bring in a little happy music, because right now
Music.
I'm gonna finish my old movie. I'm gonna try to avoid politics today because I already know what's going on. I'm going to maybe run over to the gym here in my community, do a little workout. I'm gonna just try to have a really nice day. It's supposed to rain a lot today.
Yes.
So,
And are you having your live stream this afternoon?
yes, I am. 3:00 p.m. That's right, Glad.
Okay, folks.
Thanks
Yes.
for reminding me. I usually
Come
announce
back.
that on Saturday morning.
Come
Yeah,
back.
as a matter of fact, I haven't actually created the live stream yet. I don't ever do that till Saturday morning. I don't want to do that the day before. So as soon as we're done here, I will go in and create, and you'll see it pop up in your feed. 3 p.m., 2-hour live stream. Ellen will be here. There won't be any cigars. I do it inside in my studio, and there might be some coffee. Well, I know there's going to be some coffee, but it's going to be more of the same. And looking for questions, and we'll see. I enjoy these things. So let me bring Ellen in. Ellen can say goodbye to you all while I relight my cigar.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone. I'm so glad you are here. Thank you for all the questions. We still have some left for today. So if you ask a question and it didn't get answered, we will get to it tomorrow or this afternoon. I guess it depends. I'll look to see if you're here and you ask a question. I look for you. So this afternoon or tomorrow morning, we'll get to your question, because they just keep rolling on in.
Good. I'm
Thank
so
you, everyone.
happy to hear that. And I truly enjoy answering them. So thank you, Ellen. Thank you so much. And we will see you this afternoon. If you still got some coffee left, finish it. I'll give you a minute to say your goodbyes in the chat. And I will look forward to seeing you all this afternoon. And the music ended, but I'm going to keep going because there's something I haven't done yet. And it just wouldn't be the same if I did. I need to tell you, take the rest of the day off until 3 o'clock and eat meat.